Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
What do we got here?
Well, my wife told me to come down and make you an offer you couldn't refuse. This is Marlon Brando's personally owned 1950s biker leather coat.
This was not a movie-worn jacket.
No, it's a personally owned.
God, I so wish it was a jacket he wore on the waterfront or...
The wild ones?
Or The Godfather.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
One day I'm gonna ask you a favor.
I've come to the pawn shop to sell my 1950s motorcycle jacket that was owned by Marlon Brando. This jacket comes from the Joe Franklin memorabilia collection. It was auctioned off a couple years back. I just couldn't refuse it.
Pretty cool. All right. Well, it's Brando. Marlon Brando really was that amazing actor. I mean, he was basically the original actor doing, like, method acting. If he was going to do a part, he tried to live it for a month before he actually started filming. You know, I guess his, like, super breakout hit was probably A Streetcar Named Desire, because they cast him for that because he was in the play. And I think today most people know him as The Godfather, because you really couldn't have had anybody. I can't even imagine that movie with anyone else playing him. So where'd you get it?
I bought it off a guy who bought it from an auction.
So you don't have any pictures from the auction?
I do not. The auctions only has a picture of the coat, and all I had was just a letter of authenticity.
Okay. So, by my signature, I hereby certify that the aforementioned item of memorabilia is the original, authentic, and gifted personally to me, to my memorabilia collection, by the timeless personality, Marlon Brando. All right, sweet. And from the looks of it, this is actual wear, not like today where they purposely make something beat up.
Distress.
How much you looking to get out of this?
I'm looking to get $15,000 for it.
Okay, 15 grand. I'll give you 8 grand.
I know you need to make money yourself. I get that. 10 grand? That's knocking down 5,000 from my asking.
I'll give you 8 grand. It's a fair price. You know, it sold just a couple of years ago for 11. I figure that's probably what I'll get out of it. I put it in an auction.
Come up a little bit more?
8,500.
We can make that work.
All right, sweet. I will meet you right over there, and we'll just paperwork.
Sounds good. I didn't get the $15,000 I was asking for, but his offer of $8,500 was fair, and now I'll be able to give my daughter some money for a down payment on her house.
How you doing today?
Very good.
What can I help you with?
Well, I got something here I hope suits your taste. It's a tuxedo. It was used in a movie by an actor who portrayed Frank Sinatra, Ray Liotta.
Liotta, all right. You sure this isn't Ralph's?
I hope not. I'm here today to try to sell a tuxedo that was worn by the actor Ray Liotta in a movie called The Rat Pack. I've had the tuxedo about 10 years. Before that, it was owned by my brother, who purchased it shortly after the movie was made. If I make a sale today, I'd like to use the money and take my grandson on a little trip.
This is a pretty cool suit. I mean, Ray Liotta, he's a big actor. He's mostly known for his gangster roles, like The Goodfellas, where I think everybody loved his character in that movie. But in this movie, The Rat Pack, he played Frank Sinatra. You know, the Rat Pack ran around Vegas for many years, and they were pretty popular in the city in the 1960s. And it was the biggest stars of the time, like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. You don't really think of Frank Sinatra when you think of Ray Liotta, but, I mean, this was a good movie. They actually had just about $10 million budget, and they shot the movie in, like, I think 33 days or something like that, which is pretty fast to shoot a movie. I see RL right here, January 1998, when they would have been filming the movie, most likely. Let me take a look at it here. Looks like it needs a lint roller. But other than that, it looks like it's actually in pretty good condition. So how do you know this is Ray's suit?
Well, my brother used to be quite a collector of movie memorabilia, and this was part of his collection. It has some indicators on it. Definitely you can see the red lining that the suit had, and that you can see that in some scenes.
Yeah, I mean, clothes from movies are big. You know, collectors love them. The problem is they want to make sure the clothes were worn in the movie. A lot of the times the wardrobe will be huge, and some of the clothes won't make it onto the screen. What are you looking to do with it?
I'd like to sell it. I'd like to see it to go to a collector that appreciate it.
And how much are you looking to get?
I was thinking $1,000.
You know, I honestly have no idea, but Ray Liotta, he's still a well-known actor. A lot of people do like him, so I'd like to call someone down, take a look at it, check out the authenticity of it, and also maybe get an idea of the value that it could hold. So do you have a little time I could get someone down here?
Yes, I'd like to hear what your expert says.
Look at that. Ray Liotta. So you guys have seen Goodfellas. Have you seen Goodfellas?
Yes.
Fantastic in that film, right?
Oh yeah, one of the best.
Ray Liotta is a legend because of Goodfellas, and that movie has continued to become the go-to gangster film. But he played Frank Sinatra in this movie called The Rat Pack. Not necessarily one of the most well-known films, so the fact that it's a tuxedo versus like a set of like, you know, Bermuda shorts or some weird thing like that, that's a good thing going for it. Is it okay if we look through and just kind of examine the piece here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so right off the bat, look at this. Anto, Beverly Hills, he's like the shirt maker to the stars. Almost every single shirt that I've ever seen, at least in the last couple decades, it's always made by this suit maker, so that's a good sign there. Let's take a look here. In the world of wardrobe collecting, you always want to look for telltale signs of inscriptions or wardrobe labels. This particular tag you can see here is actually one that I recognize. This is a Universal Studios tag. Altogether, pretty cool ensemble here.
So can you tell me if this was screen worn or if this was just sitting in the wardrobe somewhere?
Yeah, you have to sort of throw caution to the wind on an ensemble like this because of the labeling, RL Ray Liotta, because it's got that, you know, wonderful tag on the inside pocket. This thing was used.
So what kind of value do you think it has?
Value-wise, I think in an auction it would probably go for between $500 to $1,200.
All right, well, thanks for coming down.
Good to see you again.
Appreciate it.
Hey, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you heard what he had to say. I'm not gonna be able to pay the $1,000 for it. When he tells me something's gonna go between $500 and $1,200, I do have to consider on the lower end of that. With that being said, I'd like to give you like $375 for it.
Could you take $450?
I mean, I think $400 is gonna be the max that I could pay for it.
I'm willing to sell it for $400.
All right, we got a deal.
Start spreading the news.
Yeah, go over here, we'll iron out the details.
I think the expert's assessment was right on. I'll take the $400, and I'm sure I'll have a good little trip with my grandson.
Hello. What do you got here?
Well, I've got a unique piece of sports memorabilia that's been signed by a lot of pro athletes, NBA players primarily.
Okay.
But there are some notables, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen,
Sweet.
Patrick Ewing.
From Dallas?
No. I'm here at the pawn shop today to sell my unique jacket. So I got the jacket at a celebrity charity gala. It's never been worn. It's been sitting in a garment bag in my closet for 15 years. I'm hoping to get $500 for it.
This is interesting. What is hoopology?
I can't tell you for sure.
Hold on a second. Chum,
Yes?
I need your help.
I'm holding the floor up, Rick.
Holding the floor down.
That's what you do because you weigh so much. I'm light as a feather.
Do you know anything about hoopology?
A little bit, but you know, my specialty is fashion, Rick. I see Trent Tucker, and that would make sense, because Hoopology is actually a clothing line made by Trent Tucker. He played with the Knicks, and he also played with the Bulls. After his time in the NBA, he, made this clothing brand and tried to, get it popular and had all these basketball friends, and they would wear it, but it never really quite caught on.
So what do you think?
Well, you got some great signatures here, Rick. I know you know who Michael Jordan is. You probably don't know who, like Patrick Ewing, but he's right up there with him. And Scottie Pippen, I mean.
Ron Harper.
Oh, yeah, Ron Harper's another great. I mean, these guys are all members of championship teams, and it's a little unusual to have all these names on a jacket, but you got some all-stars on here.
Okay. How much you want for this?
Well, I was hoping to get about $500 for it.
Okay. Let me just make sure they're all legit autographs, okay? I hate to tell you this, but like a very large portion of the stuff you buy at like charity auctions aren't exactly vetted very well. And also being a pawnbroker, I don't trust people.
I will say that I did watch this being signed.
All right, I'm gonna go call up my autograph guy. He'll look at them.
Let's do it.
Wait right here. I gotta get some water anyways. I'll go call Steve.
I have no concerns with an expert coming in just because I was at the gala. I watched these pro athletes sign the jacket, so I know that they're real, and I have no problem with it.
All right. So what do you think of the jacket? A gazillion signatures. It's on a jacket, which makes it a little weird. And
Right. It was kind of a big trend to get jackets sound like this for a long time, actually, starting in the 90s. It was always a leather jacket and always kind of pertained to basketball players, from what I remember. You know, obviously, let's just look at the first big signature. That's Jordan, and that's the key to this whole thing. Anytime I hear about a Michael Jordan signed piece, I'm kind of leery. Michael Jordan's one of the most heavily forged athletes in modern history, so the chances of being real are pretty slim. Jordan had this beautiful signature, as you could see. Starts off here, drops down, and his name just kind of flows into his last name. Now, you don't get much out of the last name. Down here, and this one's his teammate with the Bulls, Scottie Pippen, Big S, the Big P, and then the other key signature was Patrick Ewing. He didn't like signing autographs too much. Could be a tough autograph at times, but I'm seeing just a really nice signature out of him, and this, he finishes off with a nice 33 here.
Okay.
You know, it's an eclectic bunch for sure. You know, I see Darryl Green, played in the NFL, Hall of Famer, Byron Scott, who played for the Lakers, Flip Saunders, who was an NBA head coach. So you have kind of like a nice blend here, but you do have the early makings of the Bulls championship runs. So Trent Tucker played for the Bulls, so him and Jordan got close. That's kind of cool. You have to figure Jordan. He's like the linchpin to it all. Jordan on anything, just bare bones, he's $800.
So what do you think?
It's definitely authentic. There's no doubt about that. I put the value right at about $1,200, Rick.
Okay, thanks, man.
Good to see you. Good to see you, chum.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I'm pretty happy.
Okay. I could actually give you like $600 for it.
Consider it done.
Okay. So obviously you really want this out of your closet.
I really do, because there's many more beautiful things that are waiting to enter.
All right. You want to go write her up?
Yeah, let's go write it up. Come on.
Thanks so much. I'm happy to take home $600. I got my full asking price and won.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. What can I help you with?
I'd like to sell my Charlie Chaplin hat.
Charlie Chaplin. What a great piece of movie history.
Absolutely. He was a genius in his
Yeah.
day.
He was known for always having the look, the little tramp character.
Yep.
He had this hat on with the like kind of small jacket and a little cane and the
Big pants.
floppy clown
Funny
kind of
shoes,
shoes. Yeah.
I'm here today at the pawn shop to sell my Charlie Chaplin hat that was used in the movie The Circus. I bought the Charlie Chaplin hat from a collector who bought it at an auction. If I make a deal today with the pawn shop, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to buy a 1962 Fender Jazz bass.
It's actually a pretty cool hat. Charlie Chaplin really did silent movies. That's what he was known for. And I think he made like 35 movies in like less than a 2-year span. As silent movies started to go out, he did have a couple speaking parts, and I know he won an Academy Award for his first speaking part.
Yeah.
And he actually even made one colored movie. So what movie is this hat from?
This is from the movie The Circus that was done in 1928.
Okay, he actually won his first Academy Award from it, and that's gonna be the movie that everyone remembers him from. You know, that was his, you know, big hit. It was a little before my time, but
A little before my time.
everyone knows Charlie Chaplin. Where did you get this?
I bought it from a guy who purchased it at an auction. And I have the letter of authenticity from Joe Franklin, who it was gifted to by the actress Gloria Swanson.
Okay. What are you looking to do with it?
I'm looking to sell it.
You mind if I take a look at it?
No, go right ahead.
The condition looks really bad. The inside is really worn out a lot. It's got some splitting on the brim. It's literally almost fully fallen apart. But the problem is there's no prop numbers or there's no like prop house inside this hat, which would really help me tie it to Charlie. How much are you looking to get for this hat?
I'm looking to get $30,000 for it.
$30,000.
30,000 big ones.
You know, it's Charlie Chaplin. It's a very unique piece, you know. If you're gonna collect stuff from a silent movie, this is probably one of the coolest things to have. The bad news is, when you're spending that kind of money on a prop like this, you want there to be a marking on the prop itself. And if I was gonna pay $30,000 for it, I'm gonna need a little bit more proof. This letter is fine, it's great, but without having that tag and the prop information, I'm gonna have to pass on it just because it's gonna be a harder sell for me.
All right, no problems.
Appreciate you coming down.
Yep, no problem, thank you. I understand why the pawn shop didn't buy the hat without the provenance of it, and I'm a little disappointed, but I'll go home and I'll find a buyer for it.
How can I help you?
I wanted to sell something.
Well, what do you got?
This amazing hat belonged to Ronnie Van Zant.
Ronnie Van Zant.
Lynyrd Skynyrd, Freebird. He gave it to me in 1977.
Really?
Really. I came down to the pawn shop today to try and sell my Ronnie Van Zant hat. It's been sitting in my closet for 34 years, and I want to sell it for $25,000. It's a piece of history, and history isn't cheap.
He gave you this hat? Why would he give you his hat?
I was rocking out down front. This concert ended, and I'm just kind of standing there in awe. Some guy from backstage walks up, and he takes this pass and sticks it right on my chest. So then I'm there, everybody's partying. There's just lots of people backstage. Ronnie stands in the middle of the room, and he pulls the hat right off his head and sticks it on mine, and he says, "How's that?" And then 2 months later, October, I think it was 21st, that the plane went down, and Ronnie was dead. This is a piece of history.
Yeah.
You know?
As the original lead singer of Lynyrd Skynyrd, Ronnie Van Zant was basically a rock god. In 1977, Ronnie Van Zant and 2 other band members were killed in a plane crash, but their music has definitely lived on.
They were incredible. I mean, late 70s, you know, I'm 14 years old, bonfires at the beach with a boombox, playing Freebird at 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, so what do you know about the hat?
There is that picture right there of him wearing it. It's got his name here, but you can see it's wore off because he wore it quite a bit.
It's definitely a custom hat. See where it says Beaver 100?
Uh-huh.
That means it's 100% beaver. Those are very expensive hats. When you have a hat that expensive, you get it custom made.
This is a cool hat tied to a big rock star, and I actually do believe this guy's story. But we can't sell it just based on a story. Unfortunately, my dad has that dreamy look in his eye again, and when he gets hooked, it's hard to get him to let go.
This is an awesome, beautiful hat.
What do you want for the hat?
25 grand.
You're gonna have to come up with a lot more proof than that it was Ronnie Van Zant's hat than that for 25 grand. A whole lot.
He wore it every time he was on stage.
We take 5 grand for it.
No,
What will you take?
20.
I'll give you 10 grand for the hat.
Dad, you're crazy. He has no real proof that this is his
I
hat.
see enough proof here.
I think you're crazy for offering him 10 grand, honestly. I'm gonna bow out here. I don't want any part of this.
Man, it's a piece of history. I don't know. It's part of my life.
10 grand cash.
Yeah, it's his signature piece. I can't accept anything less than 20.
It's 10 grand. That's what I go.
Yeah, I think right now for 10, I'm out.
Okay. If you change your mind, give me a call.
I will.
Man, I really wanted to make a deal on this, but he wanted way too much. Maybe he'll get that price in an auction one day, but he's not going to be getting it from me. What is this?
This is a jumpsuit with a matching vest and a pair of boots owned and worn by the godfather of soul, the hardest working man in show business, the late, great James Brown.
He was the hardest working man in show business.
Yes, he was.
It's because when he got on stage, he danced the entire time.
They said they used to have to pour the sweat out of these things.
No, I don't necessarily consider that a plus.
Okay. James Brown's an icon, and I've got something that no one else has. I received this jumpsuit, vest, and boots back in 1988. I'm asking $2,500 for the ensemble, and I won't go any lower than $2,000.
I absolutely love this. James Brown, just an incredible guy his entire life. I mean, everything about this guy was absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, his dance moves on stage, all the rock stars in the late 60s were copying stuff he'd perfected. James Brown really was the hardest working man in show business. This guy had over 100 singles that made the charts and made almost 50 albums. The guy was an absolute legend. In the 1970s, he was dubbed the Godfather of Soul, and it's easy to see why. And where did you get this?
In 1985, I had the opportunity to interview James Brown.
Okay.
And the man who set up the interview, his name was Mark. Mr. Brown and I got along famously. In 1988, he got in trouble with the law with a high-speed chase. So he called Mark and said, get to the tour bus, get my wardrobe trunks out of there, put them someplace safe. So I'm sitting at work. Mark walks in with the boots and a wardrobe bag with this in it. And he said, Mr. Brown wants you to have these.
So, the big problem I have here is just looking at this suit. How do you know it's James Brown's? I mean, it doesn't have his name in it.
This is a picture of him wearing this particular jumpsuit. And this is a certificate of authenticity signed by his music director, Holly Ferris. There's JB on the boots.
Could be Justin Bieber's boots.
That is cold-blooded, man.
What do you want to do with it?
I would like to sell it.
And how much would you like for it?
I think $2,500 is fair. Christie's in New York had a big auction of his collection, and one jumpsuit went for $25,000. So I believe that you could get $5,000 for everything.
I mean, I can tell you right now, it's the style of James Brown. I know that. I just want someone to confirm it's James Brown.
Sure.
Okay? And if you don't mind hanging out a little bit, I know a guy who's literally the best in the business. Let me go grab it for you, okay?
Okay. I think it's important that an expert come in, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say.
So what's going on? What do we got?
James Brown jumpsuit and his boots.
There's a couple of things that I want to take a look at. You don't know when he wore this on stage?
No, I don't. I received these in 1988.
Okay, so his career hadn't been doing that good, and then he got revived with the Rocky show, right?
Yes,
Doing
Rocky IV.
Rocky IV, which was mid-'80s. A lot of the costumes I've seen from that era, they're made of very, very heavy wool. And around the middle, they've got a very thick piece of elastic. And the reason, obviously, for the very thick piece of elastic, he was a little portly.
Okay.
James Brown was always a colorful, a snappy dresser. He always wore his pants tight and high because you wanted to see his feet fly. So what are your real concerns about this?
I mean, do you really think it's James Brown's?
It's absolutely correct for James Brown. I think it's definitely his. It's definitely, everything's right for the period of being made in the 70s.
So, what's it worth?
I think with the boots and the package together, it's definitely worth $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Always a pleasure. Okay.
It was nice meeting you,
All right,
sir.
good luck. The collector's market for James Brown is fairly strong. I think it's a good collectible. It's worth having.
So what's your best price?
Warwick basically confirmed what I thought the value to be. $2,500, you sell it for $5,000.
Well, not exactly. I mean, this has to be displayed. This has to be, a frame has to be made, and on a suit like this, it's gonna cost me $500. So, I think more than fair is $2,000. I'll make anywhere between $500 and $3,000. That's the weirdness of my business.
Well, $2,250.
Okay. I'll give you $2,100. That's what I could do. I will give you $2,100. Thanks, man. Chum, write them up.
All right, I'll meet you right over there.
Well, the $2,100 is going to come in really handy, and it's nice to know that I'm not going home empty-handed.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, how you doing today?
Pretty good. What can I help you with?
Well, I'm here to see if you're interested in my John Popper harmonica vest from Blues Traveler.
This is John Popper's actual vest.
Yes, it is. His original vest.
Yeah, he would wear this on stage and keep all his harmonicas in it. If I'm not mistaken, he lost a bunch of weight and it didn't really fit him anymore.
Yeah, well, that's the reason he wore it, was because he couldn't wear a belt. He was too fat. I'm here today at the pawn shop to sell the original harmonica vest worn by John Popper of Blues Traveler. I'm looking to get $4,000 for the harmonica vest today. Bottom line, I'd probably take $3,000.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool piece. How did you get it?
I worked for the band like 1992 to 94, and one night he was on stage and decided he was going to give it to me.
That's pretty cool that he gave you the harmonica vest because he was known for giving out harmonicas. A lot of times, you know, these harmonicas, you can only play them so much before they'd go out of tune, and then there's just nothing you could do. It's not good anymore, so he would throw it into the crowd, which I'm sure you saw night after night. Yeah. And actually, he became known for throwing these harmonicas out, so he would, always have a bunch of harmonicas on here. What did you do for the band?
Merchandise.
So you're out there on the grind with him?
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool guy. People think of him as a one-hit wonder, but really he was in a jam band, more like the Grateful Dead, and the one big song, Runaround, really broke them into this mainstream pop culture, and that song actually brought him a Grammy in 1995.
Yes, it did.
So it's pretty cool to think he can go from jam band to Grammy-winning songwriter just over one album stretch. You mind if I take a look at it?
No, not at all.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's definitely seen some wear and tear. Have you replaced anything?
No, I
or
haven't
made
touched
any
anything.
changes?
No.
So this is exactly
As
how it
it
was
is.
when you got it, huh?
Yep.
I've seen pictures of him wearing this on stage, you know,
I'm sure
and
you
wearing
have.
this, but how can I be sure that this is...
There's a video on the internet of him actually giving it to me.
Oh, really? If the internet says it happened, right?
Well, evidently.
So how much are you looking to get for this?
$4,000.
All right, I mean, that's not out of the question. I know costume pieces can go for a lot of money, but it could easily hold $4,000 or it could hold $400 value. I just really don't know. I would like to get it checked out, though, by someone who can tell me the value because I definitely want to buy it from you. I just don't know for how much.
Okay, that sounds great. I don't believe it needs an expert, but I understand why they have to do it. I mean, he gave it to me personally, so whatever they have to do to make the deal, let's do it.
Check it out. You recognize that thing?
Of course I do. I know what that is. Blues Traveler, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Millions of people have seen this on stage. I mean, Blues Traveler, what is it, 95, 96 that you hit it big with
before it came out.
4?
Yep.
And that was like a 5-6 million selling album. For that period, that was one of the biggest selling records. So this actually is a belt. It runs this way, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Because he has to rotate through, how many, 12 harmonicas?
And they all get different notes. F, so he needs an F, he pulls an F out.
So what do you want to know? It's obviously the right thing, isn't it?
How collectible is this piece from a band that's only known for one song?
6 million records for that one song. The thing about the bands from that era is there's not much recognizable memorabilia. But so here's you got one item from the mid-90s there that is special. It's very recognizable, and I think this is a museum-worthy piece.
How much is it worth?
Oh, if that went to a rock and roll auction, I could see that selling for $3,000. The only thing that would make it better would be if you had some harmonicas in it. All right?
All right, well, I think that's all I needed to know.
That's all I'm going to tell you then.
Well, I'll see you next time.
All right, bye.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. I think the shop would do very well with this. If they put it into a display, somebody's going to really want that.
All right, so how you feeling about it now?
Well, I'm here to work something with you.
It is really cool. I'd like to buy it for $2,400.
I'd go 2,800. That's got to be my lowest today.
Do you think you could go $2,500? I mean, honestly, the $300 is just not quite enough room for me to make there.
No lower than 27. That's the lowest I can go.
I don't think I can go any higher than 20. I think 26, honestly, is higher than I want to be, but I don't want to.
You can go 26, you can go 27.
If you can go 27, you can go 26. I really don't want to see it go. All right, my boss is going to kill me, but I'll do 27.
You got a deal.
All right.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, man. I couldn't let it go over $100.
Good move.
Come on over here. We'll write it up.
Thanks. If I couldn't sell the vest, I would have had the blues, but I'm traveling out of here today with $2,700.